Etymology and historical origin of the baby name Chloe. The English borrowed Chloe from the French Chloé. Both forms are ultimately derived from the Greek khlóē, meaning small, young, green shoot of a plant. The name is related to the Greek chloros, meaning greenish-yellow, in reference to the color of a small, young shoot. The origin of the Greek word chloros is hypothetically traced back to the Proto-Indo-European root *gal, to shine, the same root where we get the English word yellow. In ancient Greece, Chloe was a nickname given to Demeter, apropos, the goddess of fertility, the harvest and the seasons in Greek mythology. Chloe is also considered a biblical name, as she's mentioned fleetingly in 1 Corinthians 1 verse 11 in the context of the house of Chloe, which brought decisiveness to Paul's teachings. It was the Puritans who uncovered these lesser-known biblical names after the Protestant Reformation. It was the Puritan naming practice which favored Hebrew Old Testament and lesser-known Greek New Testament names. They readily bestowed such names on their children as an act of modesty before the Lord. They were also demonstrating their full and in-depth knowledge of the Bible. Chloe is enjoying a massive revival among English speakers everywhere. This young green shoot has shot up the charts in Australia, Northern Ireland, Canada, the United States, England, Wales, and Scotland. However, Chloe is still most popular among the French in France and Belgium. Personality of the girl named Chloe. The number 7 personality is deeply mystical and highly in tune with their spirituality. They operate on a different wavelength than the average Joe. Spending time alone comes easily to 7s, as it gives them time to contemplate philosophical, religious, and spiritual ideas in an effort to find real truth. 7s are wise, but often exude mystery as if they are tapped into something the rest of us don't understand. They love the outdoors and are fed by nature. 7s are constantly seeking to understand human nature, our place in the universe, and the mystery of life in general. This makes them quite artistic and poetic, but they are also keen observers with high intellect, so they are equally scientific-minded. 7s are charitable and care deeply about the human condition. Popularity of the girl named Chloe. As mentioned above, the name Chloe probably came to America by way of the Puritans in the early days of settlement, although, as an obscure biblical name, it never saw any true favorability. At the turn of the 20th century, the name was in moderate to low circulation and eventually disappeared into obscurity between 1940 and 1980. Very quickly and very suddenly, however, Chloe took a turn for the better starting in the 1980s. By the turn of the 21st century, Chloe was a solid favorite for baby girls and a top 10 choice between 2008 and 2011. She is following the current naming trend associated with the revival of older charming, classical names, think Emma, Sophia, Olivia, and Abigail, that have all become fast favorites of this new millennium. The historic pendulum has swung and we love this name again. Quick facts on Chloe. Gender, girl. Origin, English. Number of syllables, 2. Ranking popularity, 14. Pronunciation, Chloe. Simple meaning, young green shoot. Characteristics of Chloe. Eccentric, mystical, solitary, wise, intuitive, philosophical, imaginative. Cultural references to the baby name, Chloe. Literary characters of the baby name Chloe. Aunt Chloe is the wife of Uncle Tom in Harriet Beecher Stowe's famous anti-slavery novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin, published in 1852. A virtuous Christian, Chloe is the self-effacing cook for the Shelbys, and certainly brings to mind the enforced stereotype of slavery, the black mammy. Chloe loves her husband and children, does her duty, and accepts her fate. When Tom is sold off the plantation, however, Chloe becomes determined to try to redeem him, along with the help of Mrs. Shelby and her son. Chloe works for years in order to save the money needed. Such virtue must be its own reward, however, as Chloe's cruel fate is to learn that her husband has died. Her last appearance has her sobbing on her mistress' shoulder, while apologizing for doing so. This one is definitely an obscure reference. Daphnis and Chloe is the only known work of the 2nd century Greek novelist, Longus. The story would later become an inspiration for an operetta written by Offenbach, 1860, and the subject of a ballet written by Maurice Ravel, 1912. Daphnis and Chloe is the story of a boy, Daphnis, and a girl, Chloe, each of whom is abandoned at birth and discovered, respectively, by a goatherder and a shepherd who decide to raise the children as their own. The two children grow up together and eventually fall in love. Naive and innocent, they do not understand these feelings. So, a wise old cowherder explains to them what love is, and tells them that the only cure is kissing. They do this. Later, Daphnis is educated in the art of lovemaking by a woman from the city. The woman warns Daphnis not to test this newly acquired skill on the virginal Chloe because he will cause her great pain. In the meantime, Chloe is courted by many suitors, some of whom try and abduct her until she's saved by the intervention of the god Pan, in Greek mythology, the god of shepherds and flocks. In the end, Daphnis and Chloe are recognized by their parents, get married, and live out their lives in the country. Popular songs on Chloe. A song by Blood or Whiskey Chloe. Famous people named Chloe. Chloe Sevigny, actress. Chloe Anthony Wofford, aka Toni Morrison, Nobel Prize-winning author.